Hey guys, it's lovely to have your company back here on my Crafter's Companion YouTube channel. I hope you are well and I hope you are ready for another tutorial where when it comes to this one, we are going to be making a decent sized cracker. Now, of course, here in the UK and, some of the European countries, we certainly have crackers at Christmas time. That was a close one. Crackers at Christmas time where we're around the Christmas dinner table, we pull a cracker, it's got a snap in it, it tends to have a paper hat, tends to have a joke and also a little toy. Now, it's kind of tradition to a lot of people that you get the most cheapest crackers with the most cheapest and inexpensive gift. And I say gift loosely because it is really quite cheap and nasty, but sometimes that's all the fun. Now, the good thing when it comes to handmade and homemade crackers is you can put whatever you want in them. Now, we're not going to be doing a Christmas one. Now, we are going to be making one, and then you can decorate till your heart's content. We will also decorate it. So if you want to decorate it for Christmas, great, but we're going to be decorating it for, well, it could be a new baby. And that's the thing with a cracker. And the size that we're going to make, you'll be able to put a few little sizable things in there. So before we dive in, thank you so much to everyone that still continues to subscribe to my Crafter's Companion YouTube channel, where everything that we use and focus on is all revolving around us at Crafter's Companion. Now, what I do like to do 9 times out of 10 is mix it up when it comes to old and new. Do sometimes like to focus on a little bit of the old. So many of you have, of course, spent your hard-earned money on collections over the last days, weeks, months, years. So it's always nice just to bring some of the older collections back or older products and then start to just regenerate them when it comes to newer items that we have at Crafter's Companion. Of course, I do a couple of things when it comes to other tutorials where I try once a week when it comes to our previous craft boxes. So I tend to try and do 2 a week. The way that's been going lately, not quite managed that simply because Crafters TV Hobby Maker has been very, very busy. And of course, with all of these that I do from home, I do in my own time. So therefore, it's been a little bit harder. But I aim for 2 a week. One with the past craft boxes. And then the other one could be anything. Old, new, mix of old and new together. So that's the avenue that I tend to go down when I have that little bit of time. So going back to the cracker, let's dive in and let's show you what we're going to be making. And this is what we're going to be making here. Now, we're going to be using an old paper pad. We're going to be using an old stamp and die. I loved these ones when we first brought these out a good number of years ago. Keeping it quite simple in decoration. You can add flowers and butterflies, you can do embossing, you can do inking and distressing, you can do all of that. But as you can see here, what I am going to do is keep it very, very simple. And then we're going to be able to then pop a number of different things within the centre here. Now, this is more of a gift-giving cracker. You're not necessarily going to be pulling it, you're going to be opening it with a gift inside, should you choose to use it in that forum. Now, this one, as you can see, I've done for a boy, but what we are going to do in the one with this video is we're going to do it pinks. So we're going to theme it for a girl. You'll notice just on those inside bits, I've also mat and layered with some pattern paper, just to then give that little bit more of a visual when then you're turning it in and around. We might add a little bit more decoration depending what we're like for time, but that is what we're going to be going for, and that is what we're going to be making when it comes to this tutorial. So what we're going to do when it comes to the main construction of the cracker, I'm going to go back to our luxury mixed cardstock. So we're going to go in with the sparkling silver, and I'm going to be using that silver grey for the actual cracker. Now, it's construction, so I would use construction weight cardstock. I would say anything. Me personally, 250 onwards. Well, I would say 280 onwards. You can do 250 onwards if you're going to be mat and layering like we are, but as long as it's a good weight for construction. So if you would use it for box making, it's going to be perfect for your cracker. And then when it comes to the actual pattern paper, the blue came from the contemporary watercolour. So this was a favourite of a lot of people. And actually the pink we're going to use is also from this one. So all works well together. And what's lovely is the cracker itself only needs one 12 by 12, one patterned paper, and one A4 sheet of white cardstock. Now, mine's just so happened to be cut down in A5, but that's all that it needs. One 12 by 12 card, one pattern paper that's 12 by 12, and one A4. That is it to make that full cracker. So let's dive in when it comes to the actual cracker itself. And we're going to then take our card, and we do need to trim just one side, and we need to trim it to 11 inches. So our sheet of cardstock will be 12 by 11, and that's it. That's all that we need for our actual cracker itself. So I'm going to move that one out the way. Now, if you have only got a Score Master, I'm going to show you how you can absolutely use your Score Master, even although it's slightly smaller. But if you've got your large scoreboard, then brilliant, even better. But as you can see, a little bit tight for the Score Master, but it does work. So what I've got here, so this is the 11 inch and this is 12 inch. So we're going to put 11 inch up against that left hand side, and then we're going to score at 2.5 inches. So score at 2.5 inches. We're then going to score at 5 inches, and then we're going to score at 7.5. So we're going to go in at 7.5, like so. And then we would need to score at 10 inch, but of course we don't have that 10 inch space, or we don't have that 10 inch mark. So each of these are 2.5 increments. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn that around, and then I'm going to score here at the 2.5. So I'm going to come in, so there's 1, 2.5, and score. So if I turn that back again, so that's 2.5 inch, then we're at 5 inch, we're at 7.5, and then we're at 10 inch. That will give us our 1 inch little strip at the side. And there you go. What we're then going to do is turn it on its side. And then once again, what we're going to do is score at 2.5, like so. We're then going to score at 3.5 this time, like so. And then we're going to score at 4.5, like so. And then to make it easier for myself, I'm going to flip that completely around and do the same. So we're going to do 2.5, we're going to do 3.5, and then we're going to do 4.5, like so. And that is our measurements for our cracker that you can see here. So I'm going to go that right back to the beginning again. So that's 2.5, 5, 7.5, 10. And then we turn that around and we scored at 2.5, 3.5, 4.5. Turned it right around and done the same. 2.5, 3.5, 4.5. And that is our main construction layer for our cracker. So what I'm going to do now within this one, where we've got the 2.5, 3.5, and then 4.5, that middle one, 3.5, I'm just going to then fold back on itself. And then I'm going to do the same on this side here. I'm going to fold back in on itself, like so. I'm going to give that a burnish, and then I'm going to give that a burnish, like so. And then what I'm going to do, if I open up, and hopefully that we can see where you've got those lines in between. So if I take this one, let's do pencil mark just so that you can see. So there's the score lines that we've got here. So you can just see the score lines and no more. So there's our score lines. What we're then going to want to do is we're going to want to then score, or what we want to do is we want to cut just to each side. So we want to have 1.5 inches right across here. So what I mean by that is let's use my glass marks. This is going to be a lot easier. So if I come down into here, now we're going to be looking down into here. So what I've got here is that little notch. So 1.5 inches. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put that pencil line at the 3/4 of an inch mark, and then I'm going to do a pencil line at the 0 and a pencil line at the 1.5. So where you've got that crossover line, that score line, that's going to go at 3/4 of an inch, and then we're going to cut at 3/4 of an inch to the left and then 3/4 of an inch to the right. Just try to find the best way to explain that. And then we're going to do the same again. So our next score line, we're going to mark and we're going to pop that at the 3/4 of an inch mark, and then at the 0 before, and then at the 1.5 after. So essentially you've got 3/4 of an inch and 3/4 of an inch. We're then going to go into the next one and do the same. Pop that mark or that score line at 3/4 of an inch, and we're going to do a mark at 0, 1.5, and then we're going to do the same here. So 0 and then 1.5. You will be left with just a tiny little bit, and then we need to come right back to the beginning. So we've done that at each of these lines. So we need to then pretend that this end is a score. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that at the 0, and we're going to do a mark at 3/4 of an inch. So we've got our lines. I'm going to do exactly the same when it comes to this side. You just need to keep in mind, if I go back that way, here is your score and your adhesive line here. So we're going to turn that around. So there is our score line. So we're going to pop that at 3/4 of an inch, do a mark at 0 and a mark at 1/2 inch. There's our next line. So that's going to go at 3/4 of an inch. We're going to mark at 0, 1.5. Here's our next one. So we're going to pop that to 3/4 of an inch, and we're going to mark at 0, 1.5. Here's our next one, 3/4 of an inch. So we're going to mark at 0, 1.5. And then again, this one, let's just pop that one to 3/4 of an inch. And let's do a mark. I'm hoping I kind of semi-explained that one. I'm hoping so anyway. I'm not sure if I quite explained that the best way that I could, but that gives you that visual indication of where we're going to cut, which we're going to do just now. So if I open it up, this is what we're going to be left with. So let's fold them back, and then taking our scissors. So I'm going to, so our little mark there, if we can just see, we've got our score line that runs all the way across. So we're going to go mark to centre, mark to centre, cut out the V. We're then going to go into our next line, mark to centre point, and then mark to centre point. And I'm cutting through the 2 layers here, as you can see. We're going to then go to our pencil mark, up to the centre, pencil mark up to the centre, and we're just following all the way along up to top, and then pencil mark up into here. So as I open that up, you've got your cracker coming together. Don't worry about if you do pencil lines as well, because we're not going to see it, because we're going to fold them in on themselves. So let's go pencil mark, and then we're just going to cut all the way along. So let's work our way in, and then work our way in, following your pencil marks that are at 3/4 of an inch from each side. In, and then in, and then when we open that up, we've now got the workings of our cracker that you can see here. I'm just going to take a drink of my iced coffee. I've got juice as well at the side. So we're going to now fold and burnish all of these lines. You can absolutely do that beforehand if you want to. It's entirely up to yourself. But we're just going to then fold like we would do when it comes to any cracker. So let's just fold, fold, fold. And I'm going to do the same at this side. So fold in, and then fold back, and then fold in on itself. So what we've done is our line down the middle, we've done a valley, as you can see on that one there too. And then the line on the left and the right on both is a mountain, you can see here. And then what we can do is these ones, we're just going to fold in on themselves like so, including our glue tab. And then there we go. That will then fold it in. If you wanted to make that glue strip even thinner, you can absolutely do that if you so wish. No problem whatsoever. But then there we go. That is the construction, the working of your Christmas cracker. As always, it's best to decorate before you go. Now these mats and layers would take a little bit of time, so I have cut some beforehand. Not often, as you guys know, that I do pre-bits before, but for this one I have. And these are really, really straightforward. All of these squares, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and remember we're going to do the inside as well. All of these are the same square, so we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 squares with a white matting layer. When we do the insides, I'm not going to do any white matting layer. I'm just going to pop the pattern paper straight in. So let's break it down. These are 2.5 by 2.5 square. So let's take our guillotine and we're going to cut at 2.25 by 2.25. So 2.25 by 2.25. Of course, we would need 8 of these for the inside. So 3 and 4. And then let's do another 4. I can use that leftover bit. We'll get another one out of there. So there's 1, 2, 3, and 4. So that's 8 squares at 2 1/4 by 2 1/4. Now we're going to attach some of these just now, and we're not going to do them all, because if I stick that one on the inside just now and then we do the construction, can you see it's going to overlap? So what I'm going to do is, we've got our glue tab, so I'm going to stick these ones in because it's a lot easier to do it before it's assembled, and then we'll do these two right at the very end. So let's take your choice of adhesive. I'm going to go in, of course, with my tacky glue from Sticks 2. And what I want to do is I want to make sure that all of the strips, because the pattern paper I'm using has these stripes. You can use, of course, any pattern paper you want. But if it's a directional pattern paper, then you just want to make sure that they're all facing the right way. So it's beautiful pearl silver or grey cardstock. So it's not necessary that you do the mats and layers on the inside, but I think it's nice just to spend that little bit of time, and it pulls the eye from the outside to the inside. Certainly if you're going to treat this as an actual gift box cracker, because you're not wanting to then destroy it, hence why you're not going to pull it open. So you want to decorate it beautifully like you would do any box that you do. Nothing different other than the style, which is the style of a cracker. So pop these squares into here, and then we're going to pop that one. No, I'm not doing the inside, there's no point, you're not going to see the inside at all. So that's these. Remember, these ones we're going to do right at the very end. So that is now the inside of our cracker done. All we need to do is add that tab later on. So let's open it up, and then what we need to do, these are the same, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. These are also 2 1/4 by 2 1/4, but when it comes to this one, it's 2 1/4 by 3 inches. Sorry, 2.5. Yeah, 2.5 by 3 inches. So we're going to, of course, come down 1/4 inch. So these ones here, I've already got these cut. Same size as the inside one, 2 1/4 by 2 1/4. But what I have done is I've matte and layered these onto a little bit of white, which I'll show you. So 2 1/4 by 2 1/4. This one, these we need 4 that are 2 1/4 by 2 3/4. Had to remember there. So let's take our pattern paper. So let's cut 2 1/4 by 2 3/4. And we need 4. 2 3/4. 2 3/4. 2 3/4. That then will give us all of our layers for the inside, and then of course we will have all the layers for the outside as well. But I want to elevate it just that little bit more. So we're going to matte and layer them onto white. Now, you can matte and layer them onto silver, you can matte and layer them onto pink if you want to, but we're going to do a very, very thin matte and layer of white. Now, this is the bit that I have already pre-done, but we will do some of them to show you. So I'm going to go in with my guillotine, and let's go in with my white card. So I'm only wanting a very thin matte and layer. So if I bring in that 2 1/4 by 2 3/4, I am to the right hand side of the 2 1/4 mark. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go just over the left hand side of the mark on our guillotine. So just after 2 1/4 by 2 1/4, and that's going to give me a very, very thin matte and layer. So let's do the same just over 2 1/4, just over 2 1/4. That gives me a very thin matte and layer. And let's do one more, just over 2 1/4, and that gives me a very thin matte and layer. And then for the middle panels, that's still going to be just over 2 1/4, but it's going to be just over 2 3/4. So that gives us our little matte and layer, and just over 2 3/4 for our matte and layer, like so. So let's stick these ones together, and then I shall bring in all the other ones that I've done. Let me just move that pattern paper out the way. Bring in my glue, and then take a drink. So this is where you can ink around the edges if you want, go around with your sticky glue and add flakes around the edges, use your glitters around the edges. Many, many ways you can then start to enhance them, but keeping it really, really nice and simple. And as you've seen at the start, and I'll show you at the end, I've already done one for a boy. So do your blues for your boys, and then do your pinks for a girl. And then if you don't know what the sex of the baby's going to be, then do it in like yellows. I would always say a light yellow, not an overpowering bright yellow, but a light yellow is a nice one to use, colour to use, if you don't know the sex of the baby. Or the other one you could do is ivory, if you don't know the sex of the baby. And what's also a good one, I've noticed as of late, good as unisex, or if you don't know the sex of the baby, and that is like a teal green. That's a good one if you don't know the gender of the baby. So let's matte and layer these, so it's giving us a fine white layer, and then I'll bring in all the ones that I've done. So 2 1/4 by 2 1/4, we're going to need 8, and 2 1/4 by 3 1/4, we're going to need 4. So we've got these ones, so 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, and then 1 2 3 and 4. So that is all of these. So let's bring back in our cracker, and then we can then start to mat and layer these. I'm going to do the middle one first. Nothing stopping you from using your foam pads if you want to, but I'm not going to, because our baby sentiment, I'm going to add on foam pads. So all of these I'm going to keep completely flat. So let's pop that in there. So mats and layers with our strips all going in the same direction. I'm just making sure it's all even, which it is. And then adding these on into there. So bringing that one in. So if I bring that in, press down. That's our middle panels done. So let's go to our base panels. I'm just going to then add my glue. So although, as many of you know, I don't tend to pre-do any bits, I just thought that would have taken a little bit longer to do all of the layers from scratch, and it's better to dive in to the more fun bit. So hence the reason that I did pre-cut those layers ready to go. And very repetitive. So I'll line up like so. Just making sure, yeah, it's all aligned. We're working our way round. But think of your different celebrations. You know, you could be doing these with black and golds or black and silvers, and it'd be good for weddings and anniversaries. Or you could be doing your ivories and gold or ivories and silver, also good for your weddings. But do these for Christmas time with all your Christmas paper. Make the cracker with your Jingle All the Way, and then you can attach some of your bells to the ribbon. So let's add this on. What you could also do, and we'll give it a shot, it might be a little bit too thick. Might be a little bit too thick, but that is our chunky ribbon. You know, where you got the mint and the pink chunky ribbon way back when we launched the Christmas charms. Because those pink tones would work well. So let's assemble these like so. So then there is our baby pink cracker. So I'm going to add my glue all the way down, even onto the little inslets. You could use your red liner tape for this if you don't want to wait on it drying. So let's fold that one over, let that meet, bring in. I'm just going to then start at one end with the glue. Let that grab. I'm going to go into this end before we move on into the middle. So let's turn that one around like so. I'm just going to hold that and hold that just for a moment, and then I'm going to come along in to the middle, and then I'm going to use my ruler to just press that into place because I can't get my hand in there. So your bone folder or paintbrush handle or ruler is a good one. And then that is going to be your cracker constructed. Now you might, where you've got the little V's, because we've not cut them identical, because they're all hand cut, might not match up perfectly, but that's going to be the base. So no one's really going to notice that. And then there we go. We've got our cracker. So I was going to use either white or pink ribbon. I'm just going to, actually, is it here? Oh, it is, it's here. Again, might be just a little bit too thick, but let's give it a shot and see. So the teal would work with this as well. But what I'm going to do is let's use the, actually I think you were on the wrong view there. I think you were still on the overhead. We're going to be using that, or we're going to see what it's like. Might be a little bit too thick, but we're going to give it a shot and see. And then of course the strips. Let's use the strips to tie in with that. If it is a little bit too thick and too taut, then I'll go back to some satin ribbon that I've got. So let's chunk it up. And then actually, see, I would want to do a hand-tied bow, but then a bow would really, really make it too thick. I know what I could do. Leave it like that with the tails and do a smaller individual bow. Yeah, let's do that. Because I do like the look of this ribbon. So, going to go at angles. You know me, I don't like the tails on a ribbon. I don't know why, I just don't. You'll never see me do the little tails. Well, I better not say that. Never say never, but it's very rare that you will ever see me do the little V tails. Right, let's just manipulate that, and then so we've got our chunky bow there, and then this is where I've got nothing pink. This is where if you had little, just little couple of little gifts you wanted to give. Maybe you know of the person, but you don't know them well. I'm not going to put it straight in, but I'm going to take it out, or I'm not going to keep it in, should I say. But that just gives you an idea as to, you know, little things that you could pop in there if you're doing it for a wee baby. So let's turn that around. And then let's tie. See, the mint would look lovely with this as well. I do really like that chunkiness to it. A little bit more rustic in a way. And actually, it looks really nice just with that one tie knot. So we'll see. I might not add a little bow, or I might. So angle, and then angle. I'm going to shorten that a little bit. And same there. So there's our cracker. Let's see. There's my ribbon. And from the other side. So we've got all my other ribbon I get is from Sticks 2. So this is just our white satin ribbon. So crossover, because it's going to be for a new baby, so you want it to be really, really nice. You want it to be a little bit more luxurious. Which that could. Nah, I like it like that. I don't want any more ribbon to it, or any more bows to it. I like it as it is. So we've got our cracker. How much, if you are one that sells their makes, how much would you get? Lots. So we're going in with the baby sets. This is where you got the stamp and the die, but then you also got boy, girl, new, shower, welcome as little stamps. Now for these, what we need to do is we need to die cut it first. So you can't stamp and, oh, you can stamp and die cut, but to get it bang on in the right place is so hard because you've not got anywhere where you can then pop your magnetic discs. So I'm going to do one of my favourite little tips. I'm going to bring in, of course you could use our large stamping platform. I'm just going to use my smaller one now. I've just dropped my stamp. Where's it gone? Where has it gone? Oh, there it is. So yeah, I'm just going to use my hunky-dory one. There's no space to pop our magnetic discs on. So I'm just going to take some adhesive. If you are using our stamping platform, you're just going to do it and use it in the exact same way as I'm doing here. So we're going to tape it down. I'm just going to stick my head in the way, hence why I've moved you just now. And then once I'm happy with the alignment, I'm happy that it's aligned right over the top, let's press that in. And then let's do Pink Tulip. So let's use Pink Tulip quick dry. And then stamp. And like usual, when it comes to quick dry and stamp and anything that's kind of layered, I'll do it 3 or 4 times. Let's do the third. perfect. I'm going to do it once more, just to make it stand out, like so. And I'm just going to leave it baby. I'm not going to do baby girl or anything like that. I'm just going to keep it as it is, saying baby. As you can gather by the pink and the word baby, it's for a new baby. Obviously you can if you've got the stamp set. So let's just clean all that off. And then I'm going to take my pokey tool, and then I'm going to use only the die, and we're going to cut it in grey to do a drop shadow. Elevate it that little bit more against the background. That'll just fit. So I'm going to run that one through. If you're someone that's still got that full range of stamp and die sets, they're so clever. And the stamps, the background stamps that you got with them as well, are great. And I'll maybe, at some point if I can, got all these tutorials that I want to do and I keep adding to my list, but at some point I'll maybe try and do a tutorial with just that stamp and die set. So then we've got baby cut just within that silver pearl. So let's take our glue, our adhesive of choice, and give that a really good backing. We're going to do our drop shadow. Actually, do you know what I might add? Maybe one or two die cuts from our baby embellishment mini die sets. So, oh, that was my knee against my desk. Oh, no, not within that pile. There we go. So let's take my foam pads, if I can find them. There we go. And then add a little bit of height. So this is where we're getting the height. So although I've not done any height to the matte and layer panels, what I have done is added that bit of height with this sentiment. Now I'm just using my traditional 6 to 5mm by 5mm foam pads. I know many out there who do like foam pads and have been crafting for many years do not like the small 5x5 ones. For me, they're still a godsend, and even though they're tiny, there's still a place in the crafting life for them. So let's take the backing off. So going between my finger and my pokey tool, just to stab them, taking off the back, stab and flick, and then that can go into there. So we've now got our baby cracker, and then let's do so I'm inclined to do just a white grow on each bit of matting layer when it comes to that one, if it makes sense. So 4, 8, so 4, 8, 9, 10, 11 baby grows just in white. Just in white. And do it kind of all the way, or maybe just on the back, so when they turn it around, they've got that little bit of detail, so it's not only matting layers all the way around. Let's also do a drop shadow before that glue dries. So although it's pretty all the way round, by just having the baby grow on the back, just gives their eyes something else to notice and see as they're turning it around. Yeah, I like that. I'm not going to put it with foam pads though, because it's going to be on the back, so therefore it's potentially going to be laying down a lot. I'm going to keep it flat into the middle, like so. And then actually I might just do the same top and bottom. We've got the pin as well. I might do the pin across the word baby, maybe baby. If you know by now, I'm not one for too much. I'm one for a little nod, a little appreciation, but not one for too much. So that's that. And the good thing, I can keep it simple, and you guys can come along and go crazy with the decoration and add as much or as little as you want. Just keep these little stars in case I end up wanting them. Right, last one, the baby grow. And then I'll do the same with the pin. Let's do the pin in white and pearl silver. There we go. Like that. Run that one through. And then do it in white. Find a white cardstock. And then we can assemble and finish. So let's take that out. I'm going to have to open my window, my craft room. Despite the fact being a little bit chillier today, it's roasting just now. So, let's take the pin for now and do it. Seems to be automatic now that I just do a drop shadow because I can't help it. But I think it always works. So there's our pin, and then our two baby grows. White onto silver. white onto silver. Like so. I just think like satin silver or pearl silver or grey or gold just works so well. Gold? Black, I mean. Pearl silver, grey or black. Always works so well. So the grow, baby grow, I'm going to add on foam pads because that's going to be on the top layer. So add these on now. Oh, there's my foam pad gone. So if I take that and then that, let's add these on, one there and one there. So let's take each of these. Now I'm going to do like I done with the baby grow in the back, and I'm going to keep it straight, but you can go in at little jaunty angles if you want to. So if I put that, like you go in, actually maybe I will go in at an angle. Yeah, actually maybe I will. I'm not one for angles, but let's do it. And then that one can go there. And then yeah, down, like down the side. That little attention to detail, yeah. And obviously there's no room really for foam pads. There is if you cut them really thin, but I'm going to slightly offhang there, and then I think it needs gems, doesn't it? No, it needs pearls. Baby needs pearls. I'm going to use the white. Let's take a load of these. I'm going to get my pickup tool, get my glue. So let's do, let's do 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and 3. So let's do 1, 2, so we're putting them on the word. So let's budge them into place. Same with that one. That one. And that one. And then let's do 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, and 3. Down into there. I'm going to turn it around, do that again, but in the top, what will be the top corner. 2, 3. So do 1, 2, 3, like so, and then I'm going to do just in the middle bit 1, 2, 3 again, just so there's something for the eye as they're turning around. I mean, you can add more die cuts when it comes to the baby dies or anything really. Right, I'm going to lift it so I don't smudge. So 1, 2, and 3. I always get asked, so the tray that I'm using is it the lady that does diamond dots on Hobby Maker. She gave me a load. And then, yeah, let's do the back as well. So it's special. It's a new baby. You want it to be nice and special, meaningful. So the chances are, if it was for someone that I know, I would personalise it. And actually, I say that, my mum's asked for a baby girl card. I wonder if she'll want this to pop a little gift in. There we go. It's in each corner. And I tell you what, let's just do 1 and 1 in each corner here. I just moved that one with my finger. There we go. That's it. I'm not going to put it down because I'll end up moving the petals. But there we go. There is our cracker for a baby girl. And we've added our chunky ribbon and tied the ends. Used the baby die stamp and die. We've used the Gemini mini elements. Pattern paper is from the contemporary watercolour. Then the silver pearl is from the sparkling silver, both 12 by 12. And then just added a few pearls all the way round as an extra visual. So this is the one that I'd done with the boy. Didn't add any additions. Kept it very quite simple. I would change the ribbon to blue, but the white still works. And then you can decorate it in the same way that you can see here. So there we go. There is your cracker. You know, you don't have to use that thick ribbon. Just that was a good idea, and it does work. Makes it a little bit chunkier. You got your baby with the pearls all the way around. And just a nod to an embellishment on the back there. And then there you go. So I hope you enjoyed that one. Eventually got round to filming that tutorial for you guys at home. But of course, here in the UK, places in Europe, crackers is for Christmas time. But crackers don't just have to be for Christmas time. You can use them as a brilliant way to give little gifts or little notes or little treats in there for loved ones, friends, families. And you can pop anything in there, decorate it for any occasion. We've done baby, yes, of course, Christmas. You know, could do a Halloween. Oh, Halloween one. You could do Halloween one, you can do wedding and anniversary, you could do Easter. There's just so many ways. And then all you need is one sheet of cardstock for your cracker, one sheet of pattern paper for your embellishments, and one A4 sheet of white cardstock for the mats and layers. That's if you do the mat and layer like I'm doing. But for the pattern paper decoration and the actual construction of the cardstock or the cracker, all you need is one sheet of each of 12 by 12, and that is enough to make that cracker, which is fab. Right, thank you once again. Hopefully you enjoyed that one. Do let me know what you think within the comments here. I will, as always, try and link whatever I can into the description for you to head across to our website, whether it's .co.uk, .com or .eu. But in the meantime, do feel free to share this video with friends, families, into groups on social. Be most appreciated. And if you do make one, do make sure if you post it on social, give me a tag on Craig Laird CC, whether it's Facebook, whether it's Instagram, TikTok, or of course here on YouTube. Always lovely to see what you're making. But right, until next time, we will see you again. Doodles.